All right. I think it's official that after Don Miller, I'm like the squarest. I'm dressed like a narc, and there's going to be poetry up on the screen. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Sean Buffington. I'm the president of the University of the Arts. First, what are you looking at? You are going to be looking at, in just a moment, two things. One are verses from a poem by W.H. Auden called In Memory of W.B. Yeats, which was written after Yeats died to commemorate his death. And the second thing that you're going to be looking at, and you see there, one of them, are works actually created by students at the University of the Arts. Most of these were just this year. Now, why are you looking at these things? First of all, I thought it would be useful for you to actually see what students at the university do, like, i.e., what we do at the university. So that's important. The second reason that I thought you should see some of these things is that I figured if this was a complete disaster and everything went to the absolute worst, that at the very least you would see some reasonably cool images and you would actually walk away with a totally amazing poem. And I totally urge you to, if you can't multitask while I'm talking, to go read it. It's amazing. So there's another reason why the Auden poem is actually up there. And that's because Auden is saying something in this poem, I think, about what it means to be an artist, what it means to make work that matters, and how one becomes an artist. And the reason that's important to me is because that's what we do at the University of the Arts, or that's what we're confronting right now, is what does it actually mean to make art? What does it mean to be an artist? And perhaps most importantly for a University of the Arts, what does it mean to make an artist or to educate an artist? Now, we have had a kind of traditional answer to that question, which is that you just kind of keep loading skills onto students, right? The assumption is that a student comes in, 17 years old, they know exactly what they want to do, they step onto a kind of conveyor belt, that's a kind of linear pathway, and we kind of heap skills on them. It's sort of like, you know, an old Warner Brothers cartoon where somebody's on that conveyor belt and more armor gets added and all those kinds of things. We just keep adding that, and then they come off the other end of the conveyor belt and they go do exactly what we trained them to do, right? Well, that I don't think is exactly how the world works anymore. I think it might have been how the world worked 130 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago, but not really now. So now the art forms themselves have changed, the fields of art have changed, what they mean has changed. The structure of the professions associated with those art forms has changed, and the way people move through their lives has changed, right? So now when somebody's an artist, you know, they may be moving from the gallery world to a commercial venture to a nonprofit venture. They may be grabbing tools from all over the different fields of art. You know, one day there may be music involved, the next day there may be paint, the next day there may be something entirely different. So how do you actually equip a student? How do you actually educate a student for that kind of world? Well, I'm not really sure. I think it has something to do with the fact, just kind of figure out where we are in this thing, because I'm kind of doing this virtually here, as it were. I think it has something to do with the way that you equip students with the ability to learn for themselves. You give them certain kinds of basic capacities. Yeah, they need certain kinds of skills. They know how to stretch a canvas and things like that. But it's something more important than that. You have to know how to tell a story. You have to know how to innovate through collaboration. You have to know how to organize space. You have to know how to make meaning out of materials that don't inherently or intrinsically have meaning. Those are a certain set of basic capacities, if you will, that I think every artist needs to have in their pocket. And the challenge for us is to figure out exactly how to equip students with those kinds of capacities. I don't know if we know how to do that yet. We're actually spending the summer, a bunch of us, and there's some people in the audience who are from the faculty at the university, and we're spending the summer trying to ask that question. What does it mean to educate an artist in the 21st century? What does it mean to be an artist in the 21st century? How do we actually do that? So that's the challenge that we've set for ourselves. I would describe it succinctly in this way. We are... All right, that's my 1-minute warning. We are fundamentally trying to reinvent what it means to be an arts university in the 21st century. And I hope that I'm going to have answers for you about what that means more precisely sometime in the next couple of months or whatever. Let me just finish by actually reading the final words of this Auden poem, because I think they're kind of amazing and they say something about art. I think you're seeing this now. For poetry makes nothing happen. It survives in the valley of its making, where executives would never want to tamper, flows on south from ranches of isolation and the busy griefs, raw towns that we believe and die in. It survives, a way of happening, a mouth. Well, Auden starts by saying poetry makes nothing happen, and he might as well say the arts make nothing happen, and he ends by saying poetry and the arts are a mouth. Well, mouths make things happen, and I think that's why all of this matters. That's what we're about at the University of the Arts, and I hope that you'll keep with us, keep learning about what we're up to, and I welcome you to the campus. So, thanks.